hang on, hold the phone just a minute here. It's Tuesday. We're playing Tomb Raider. My god. It's Tomb Raider Tuesday, lovelies! Just had to celebrate by blowing a motherfucker to pieces there. Do excuse me. Do forgive me, my crude excesses, Crusaders. That and is incredibly hazardous to your health bar if left to roam while you splash around in the water like a titted fish. And by goodness, we need every millimeter, every trickle of life that said health bar can afford us here. In this most grueling of early game trials, Level 4, the Opera House. A sprawling, densely populated labyrinth of neck-shattering drops, broken glass death traps, dog-toting gunmen, gunman-toting dogs, razor-sharp ventilation fans, and so many more threadbare excuses to goad you into breaking into your medikit supply. But we shall not. We shall be strong. I'll die before I use your filthy medical supplies. And it'll be far too late by then, even with the large ones. So why don't you just take your little brown bags of cheating bastardry and stick them right up your bloody chuff pipe, you greasy little testicle curve. It's been a while, lovelies, surely it has, but today we resume our 100% no medikit run of Tomb Raider 2. That's every kill, every item, every secret, no bloody medikits, not even one. And you might notice a slight discrepancy in my ammo count from a previous video, Bartoli's Mansion. I did come to a point with this series where I wasn't sure if I was going to carry on with it or not, uninstalled everything, decided I was after all, and of course had to run the first 3 stages again. And this time I didn't blow up the T-Rex in the Great Wall with grenades. I only did that the first time to impress you, show you what a big man I was. In fact, I killed everything with the pistols up until this point, so my ammunition stock is slightly healthier than when we last left it. What's in that crate that's making it swing like that? Constantly. Forever. Is it my soul? Best not to ask, Crusaders. Best to move on and give it no second glance, no second thought at all. You may have noticed down there, just opposite the dock we first clambered onto after exploding one of Bartoli's hench worms, was a poster for a magic show starring one Gianni Bartoli, a man of no less prestige or title than this game's big bad Marco Bartoli's father. We'll hear a little more about him in the levels to come. Suffice to say, he performed his wizardry here in this very opera house, back before it was a flooded ruin. If you look closely at the poster, you'll see Gianni bears a remarkable resemblance to Harry Houdini, besides the laughable devil tash and goatee that some young aqua rascal has drawn on him. And that's because the poster is an authentic Harry Houdini poster with a laughable devil tash and goatee drawn on it. And the young aqua rascal in question is Core Design, the developers of this very game. Oh, Core. Have you nothing better to do with your goddamn time? My god, you monsters. When did Houdini die? Well, mid-20s. This game was just after the mid-90s. Barely 80 years in the grave, and you see fit to take a crowbar to his coffin lid, carve the face off his goddamn cadaver, and appropriate it for your own nefarious needs. May his vengeful ghost dissolve your company and all of its assets into a larger, newer company who set your staff to work on largely mediocre games. Oh wait, you were acquired by rebellion like 10 years back, weren't you? Carry on then. The matter is settled. Imagine, if you can, the former employees of a once respected game studio slaving thanklessly away on that piece of shit rogue warrior while Houdini's red-eyed spirit cackles from between dimensions in the men's bathroom. I do, often, while bathing. If Gianni Bartoli's side gig as a magician seems somewhat odd to you, and it really will, the more we learn about the man and his involvement with the Fiamma Nera cult that his son now leads, know that an early draft of the Tomb Raider 2 plot revolved around a dead magician called Calistro, a name probably bastardized from the famous Italian adventurer, occultist and royal court magician Count Alessandro di Cagliostro, a remarkably interesting fellow and amazingly ballsy con man who sadly wound up getting on the wrong side of the Inquisition eventually dying in the Forte di San Leo sometime at the very end of the 18th century. Couldn't tell you if there's a good movie about him you can watch, because I've never seen one, but we're currently standing on top of the domed roof of the Opera House itself here, the switch we just threw beneath the swinging crate of angry ghosts or velociraptor babies has popped a maintenance hatch open for us to climb inside the building proper. Ha! There's always a maintenance hatch. And so there should be. I refuse to raid anywhere that isn't OSHA compliant these days. That's the lighting booth above us. Our end game for this stage is to find ourselves a circuit board so that we can repair some janky contraption inside and raise a rear scenery panel on the main stage to escape. That's right. You thought you were in trouble back at the Great Wall when we were towed to balls with a pair of tyrannosaurs. But make way for the escalatory terror of the rear panel. You dare not kick through its thin plaster veneer, lest it scuff your boots. Right there, at the edge of the left ledge, let me just point this out. If you don't give a fuck about kills, secrets, or personal pride, and you're just tearing through this level as fast as you can, the level designers neglected to stop you from being able to, quite easily, hop around the curtain straight to the final room of the stage. We'd be pretty much done by now, actually, were I a man possessed of any less desire to comprehensively slaughter anything that so much as twitches the wrong way in Tomb Raider 2. Best to clear these dragon-worshipping mafia lunatics out just as soon as you clap eyes on them now. We're not casually hopping and frolicking through the dusty ruins of Peru, taunting wolves and bats for sport anymore. A no medipack run of this game is a much more difficult affair, thanks to practically every enemy you run across being armed to the teeth. It makes trying to plot the damage it will take that much more difficult because of just how unpredictably capable a lot of your gun-wielding foes turn out to be. Sometimes they'll spot you from a mile away and open fire. Other times you can close 50 meters on them without them landing a single shot on you. Your best case scenario, of course, is to catch them one-on-one up close so that you can minimize a lot of the hurt they do to you by rolling inside their turning circle to keep yourself at their backs. None of the gunmen in this game have a melee attack, so they're essentially helpless. Side flipping, back flipping, swan diving, performing handstands to bewilder and astound them. Nothing will distract an armed goon from hitting you if he wants to in this game. Their targeting system works exactly the same as your own, and neither of you are physically firing bullets or other such projectiles. You're automatically hit scanning damage onto each other. And once they've got that lock on you, nothing short of breaking their line of sight is going to make them miss. Oh, for fuck's sake, right on the Uzi mags. Really? Maybe I can just... There we are. God damn it, I was about to lose my shit there. Would I have carried on with anything less than a 100% pickup count? I actually wouldn't have. How pedantic is that? I would honestly have restarted the level if it meant I didn't have to go through the rest of the game with the memory of that one abandoned set of Uzi ammo squashed under the sandbag. I'm sure I don't need to tell you this, but don't stand under those sandbags. Sand is extremely heavy in bagged form and will kill you instantly if it lands on top of you. And I mean, you don't want to die like that, do you? We battled an Atlantean goddess and her army of fear beetles and terror horses in the last game. You don't want to go down to a sandbag after that. People will laugh and point at your gravestone. The authorities will have to rebury you somewhere quiet, like an appliance skip. The broken glass is another vicious new addition to the franchise that debuts on this level, and you see it sticking out all jagged and deadly like from the start of the walkway there. Does glass break like that? Now, I understand they needed an alternative to the spikes from the first game, and the glass works exactly the same as the spikes, by the way. Fall on it and you're dead, run through it and you're dead, walk through it and you're fine. Spike traps, after all, aren't historically a noted feature of opera houses, but what in the name of God shatters and leaves a 2-meter spread of waist-high shards sticking out the ground? Galactus's reading glasses? A fucking Kraken aquarium? We're gonna head under the stage and fish ourselves out a relay box here. We'll need that to power an elevator back up on the top floor. The Silver Dragon's in a little easy to miss alcove just before the turnoff in front of us. Don't miss him. Believe our reward for grabbing the trilogy in this stage is a job lot of Uzi ammo. Play your cards right for these first 4 or 5 levels and you'll seriously never run out of Uzi bullets for as long as you live. Even without the secrets, the level designers seem to have acknowledged the monstrous challenge they created with Tomb Raider 2's lurky potshot army it calls an enemy list. Tried to make up for it by just copy and pasting Uzi magazines and medipacks around the levels as far as the game disc could hold them. It's here in the Opera House as well that you're rudely awakened to the fact that the Fiamma Nera goons are equipped not just with their natty suppressor pistols that you can't have for some completely unfair reason. Starting from this stage, they'll be wandering around with SMGs as well. And because those ones aren't dressed any differently, the first thing you're likely to know about that is after they've already eaten half your fucking life bar. Of course, they'll seem like a distant happy memory of better times once we move into the next act of the game and the shotgun heavies and the flamethrower dudes come out to play, but we've made it back to the upper levels of the main room here. You can do this entire section up here first if you feel like it, but you gotta come down at some point to grab the relay box for the elevator, so you may as well save yourself a backtrack. You ill-bred Doberman filth, submit yourselves to the teachings of the lead sensei. I actually love Dobermans. They get an incredibly bad rap for their overall resting resemblance to something you'd expect to be running from at the gates of hell itself, but temperament-wise, there's a lot more unstable breeds out there. Right, ready for an elevator ride? Then you're going alone, sucker! Enjoy your lonely trip in the lift on your Jack Jones, you sad clown. Me and the cool kids are heading up here to grab our second secret of the level, the Golden Dragon. Can you come? Sure, kid. I guess. You'll have been able to spy this little treat as early as back when we were up on the domed roof, but would have lacked a way to safely drop down without gutting yourself on the glass here. And again, I must ask, what happened in this room? Did somebody painstakingly, piece by piece, build a bus in there and then crush it into a wall? Was there an incredibly large mirror in there once that notoriously ugly gangster, Ugly Mickey Scabface accidentally happened to glance into? Those shards are only in a few stages, thank goodness, but their very presence, that of deepest mystery. We'll ride the lift for real this time. No tricks and no faking. Unless I make it disappear! Woo! Great magic trick, right, Crusaders? Well, just remember, that's my powers of sorcery at about a 3. Don't push me to a 6. We're about to be pincer attacked by an incredibly deadly pair of crime bastards here. I have neither the patience nor the health to spare for their shenanigans, so I will be forced to vaporize them. Explodicus! Sniff! Those two magic spells may have looked exactly the same, but let me assure you, Explodicus was the kindness that Sniff was not. Explodicus merely detonates a man's soul inside his body. Sniff reincarnates you as a sentient toilet brush in a $3 whorehouse. This area is where you would have plummeted down to and broken your neck had you misjudged a leap near the beginning of the level, where we were hopping over the collapsing wooden planks before the domed roof, but a brief way down and around the corner here will lead us to the circuit board we need for the lighting room. It's a little soggy, it's completely fucking ruined, sure, but it's still good. Machinery was sturdy as all hell back in those days. In fact, judging from the architecture and general design aesthetic, this opera house in particular looks to have been retrofitted with more modern features such as the elevator and the stage control boxes sometime in the late 1930s. The opera house itself was most likely modelled after nothing less spectacular than the world's very first public opera house, the Teatro di San Carlo, also located in Venice, opened in 1637, sadly demolished at the beginning of the 19th century due to its uncanny knack for setting itself on fire. Did we get him? Yeah! I don't need to see these motherfuckers to kill them, lovelies. I can smell crime. If you do want to visit a gorgeous Italian opera house that's still in operation, you really can't do any better than a trip down to Naples, where you'll find the Real Teatro di San Carlo, which happens to be the oldest theatre/opera house still regularly active in the world today. Beautiful, beautiful place. We're down in the dressing room now. Note that all the mirrors have been smashed, the famously fiery temperament of the opera star at work there, no doubt. You'd think that would be the one place where they would legitimately have an excuse to put a broken glass strap, but there's some sort of design rule that things aren't allowed to make too much sense in Tomb Raider. Fear not, brother rats, I free you of your verminous body. Some clever jumping will get us past these deadly fans here. A standing hop, a twisty fuck me buck, 180 degrees rearward frolic, and a spread eagle ship plunger. Thought you'd appreciate the proper gymnastic terms for those there, lovelies. So easy to run into this fan. You have no idea. So fucking easy. I've ended so many runs of the opera house by being idiotically overconfident that I can stop dead on the Jade Dragon before I get shredded into meaty ship paper. Not today. Today I behave myself. You don't have to pull off the twisty fucking me buck there if you don't want to. Standing jump will do you just fine. I just like showing it off because it's a new feature and all. Alrighty, now we've got a tedious bit of pushing and pulling to do so that we can escape this death pit of a dressing room. There's another crate sitting in a corridor just outside that we'll need to stack on top of this one to reach the floor we dropped down from. You can shove a crate 4 or 5 times your size and weight, but you can't pick a couple of Uzi magazines out from underneath a sandbag without dancing around, sidestepping and generally making a big fucking fuss about it. I have a good mind to take you back to Croft Manor and hurl you down the bloody stairs this instant, young lady. You'll notice a few small technical improvements as we roll through Tomb Raider 2. For one thing, Core finally managed to advance the game engine enough to be able to give Lara her missing ponytail back from the first game, thanks to the higher polygon count. You'd have seen already as well that there's a much larger number of outdoor areas to run around in here, thanks to said improved polygon count. A lot of what you see in Tomb Raider 2 had already been formulated by the design team before the original Tomb Raider had even been released. Tons of ideas and concepts that Core were prohibited from including by both time and technical limitations. Comparing a stage from the original like the Lost Valley to anything even as early game as the exterior of Croft Manor here, you can see that it immediately runs a lot more smoothly. Trying to pan your camera around to look for raptors outside in the first Tomb Raider did terrible things to the frame rate. Hold up a sec, check this out. Look down here. Nothing, right? Empty as a Tory's conscience. But the minute you pull up here to get on with your day, there's a suspect squeaking noise, and if you come back down to where you were just standing, what the fuck? That is a dirty goddamn trick to throw off anybody trying to 100% the level if I ever saw one. Reginald Rayleigh Robertson, the reappearing rat. I've named him and everything. God knows where he's vanished to now. Hopefully he's materialized 10,000 feet above the Himalayas. Dirty little bastard. So yeah, anyway. Tomb Raider 2's using the same graphics engine as the original, which helped it come out the other side of a very short 8... Why the fuck are there boulder traps in an opera house? What? Jesus Christ, never mind. Helped it through a very short 8-month development cycle unscathed, with some subtly pleasing tweaking, most notably its vastly improved ability to handle large environments without relying on a 20-foot draw distance to help it run above a crawl. That worked for the original in the same way that Silent Hill used its enveloping fog to atmospheric effect. Clambering through those old tombs without being able to see shit in front of your face really added to the creepy isolationism of the game, but there were times when it couldn't help but fudge the experience. Like, one of the only bad things about that majestic moment when the Tyrannosaur is first unveiled in the Lost Valley is that its appearance doesn't so much slow the game down as break its legs with a sledgehammer as you backflip away from the fucking thing at about 10 frames per second. I know you're there, fucko. Come out and play. We wouldn't actually get our first Tomb Raider level editor until Chronicles was released, but the version that we did get was developed along with this game so that Core could edit and playtest as they went, as well as fine-tune the new dynamic lighting. Now, they basically doubled the size of their design team by this point, and a good chunk of the manpower went into enemy animation. And there's not a shit ton of wildlife in this game, but the tigers, the dogs, the sharks, the leopards, their attack animation especially. I mean, it was all hand-drawn, but it's still remarkably fluid for the era. But all of these little polishes, fixes and nips and tucks unfortunately added up to one more kick in the balls for poor old Sega and their Saturn console, which, you know, had really had enough hefty wallops in the yam bag already by that point. Core flat out refused to even attempt to develop a port for the Saturn, unconvinced as they were of the hardware's ability to satisfactorily handle Tomb Raider 2, which Sony saw as the ideal opportunity to swoop in and sign Eidos to an exclusive deal whereby no other console would be allowed to release a Tomb Raider game for 4 years, essentially slamming the door in the face of Nintendo as well, who allegedly had their own separate Tomb Raider title in early development at that time. And I mean, when you consider that the first Tomb Raider was originally developed for the Sega Saturn exclusively, built around the Saturn's hardware, which is why everything in the game engine was built with blocks and continued to be built with blocks up until Tomb Raider 3 that ran with the PlayStation's native triangle polygons. When you consider that it was only on the 11th hour that Sony even allowed the first Tomb Raider the grace of even appearing on their system, and they wound up getting the nicer looking version that wasn't completely bugged to fuck from being rushed out the door as a Saturn exclusive, when you add all that up, I mean, you can't help but feel that Sega were a little hard done by there, can you really? And it's just that extra little slap in the face, just that final parting shot. Tomb Raider was one of the franchises that helped the PlayStation gain any traction at all in Japan by way of its exclusive popularity, because up until that point, the Saturn was getting its arse handed to it all over the goddamn planet, everywhere except Japan, where it was absolutely mopping the fucking floor with Sony. So enough nostalgic mockery of the Saturn. Look at this hulking bastard now. This monstrous son of a bitch is a Fiamma Nera boss, and you'll run into him once here and once on the final level. He looks like he's packing a pair of revolvers here that are at least as big as one of your fucking legs, so your tuck and roll tactics have never been more important than right here. I haven't completely failed to accomplish that, and now he's nearly murdered me. Motherfucker backed himself up against a crate there, and he never does that. He's just done that to show off to you lot, I swear. You don't have to come down on the ground to fight him if your style of play is more doorframe hiding snipe weasel than it is my kamikaze panic bitch. You can either just dangle yourself out of the initial entry point to get his blood up, and then hide and shoot as he runs in and out of view. That takes fucking forever, just to warn you. Or you can go the slightly riskier route of hopping on top of the central stack of crates, which will expose you to a fair bit more gunfire, but also cut down the time it takes to kill him on account of being able to see more of the room here. And if you're thinking I could have just blown him apart with a grenade and saved myself a world of trouble there, you're too sweet for this world, child. Oh shit, it's caught me on a turn. Fuck off! Jesus Christ. Nearly, buddy. You nearly made yourself famous, sir. Alright, we got ourselves a cutscene coming up to end the level, as that old rogue Marco Bartoli tries to make a getaway in his seaplane. The accents here are just fucking impenetrable, so good luck.
It's not quite the same now, is it?
Someday you will get a speeding ticket for that tongue, Fabio.
Hey, it's just a gut feeling that maybe you are wrong to look there.
Is your belief so fragile? Relax. Breathe deep. The gut, Fabio. It's no more direction than a simple through and out. When my father left when I was a boy, he confided to me that he was enlightened. Beckoned by something greater than impulse. He possessed the seraph. But he was just a disciple in this design. His death, plotting a path to be sought by the One, his son. You understand? Have faith, Fabio. Not gut rot. We are searching the right place.
I know it. I believe it, Marco.
Good. Heroes, have you fixed that rail yet?
See!
By the saggy knackers of Christ, is this the end of Lara Croft? What if I said yes? Would you be stupid enough to believe that? Go on then, yes. What an inglorious end it was too. I hope you've enjoyed the Tomb Raider Tuesday series as much as I have, but because Lara is dead, I will definitely not be back next time with a run through Tomb Raider 2's next stage, the offshore rig. So, I won't see you there. I'll be in mourning because she's dead. Idiot.